renew your life, bring in some new energy, really just adopt some new habits to become your best self. Hi, welcome back to another video. If you're new here, my name is Senya, and if you're not, welcome back. Today I want to talk about 10 things I have done to elevate my life. I've been in a season where I have been heavily focusing on myself, and not only just on myself about getting better, but how I can elevate my life and become the best version of myself. I am really excited to share today to let you all know what I have been doing to make that happen. When you think about wanting to elevate your life, at the start of it, it can seem very much like just where do I go? Where do I go? Like, especially if you're in that point where you just feel like you don't know what to do, or maybe that thing that you thought you wanted to be has changed and you're looking to renew your life, bring in some new energy, really just adopt some new habits to become your best self. The first thing to elevating your life really all starts with the mindset. So that brings me to the first thing on our list today, which is best case scenario journaling. I got this from Les Alfred. She's the host of the Balanced Black Girl podcast. Best case scenario journaling. You journal about what you want your days to look like. The way I have adjusted this for my personal life so I can stay in the present is to journal about how I want my day to go. This brings in gratitude for where you currently are in your life, because when you feel better, you do better, and having that little moment to yourself in the morning will really do wonders for you. I have been doing this for about 2 months now, and I can really see a change in my attitude and my mindset. I really feel like it's brought on better days, better moments. I've been able to keep myself motivated for the things that I want to do, because every morning I'm focusing on highlighting on what makes me feel the best and how I can contribute to making sure I have the best day possible. Days are going to be days, but just knowing that I took time in the morning for myself always helps me get through the day, even if it's a little bit of a tussle with the day. So that has been the first thing that has really just has opened the skies for me. The second thing I did to elevate my life was to slowly start to curate my space. One of the things that I kind of left behind while I was down in the dumps for a while was not really enjoying my space. And I'm a big believer in your environment really being a reflection of what's going on in your mind. So if you're not feeling at home and you're not feeling like you are in a space that motivates you to create or get that thing done that you've been meaning to get done, all of those things that we push on the back burner, that is usually going to come out in your space. When you curate a space that makes you feel good and makes you want to wake up in the morning, have a good morning routine, have a good evening routine, you are more likely to be in a better mood. You're able to think more clearly. At the end of the day, you always know you have a safe space in your home, or that could be your room. Any space that can be for you and that's sacred for you is always good to help clear your mind when we have time to ourselves from the rest of the world. Say you already have your space curated, or maybe you just want to do a little update. A little tip also for your space is to always keep your space tidy, because then you're able to have a clear mind. Now you're not looking around feeling like I'm just looking at a mess and you can't think straight. And especially on those days where it's more difficult for you to actually be productive for whatever reason, having a tidy space just always makes you feel better, and it gives you that motivation that you need to get up and do that thing. The third thing that I focused on was to build a positive relationship with my finances. Most of us are not taught about finances in school or maybe even by our parents. When you're young and you're just getting into the world, it's really hard to learn how to deal with your finances, what to do, and how to save. Most of the time, we just neglect our finances because what you don't know won't hurt you. Ignorance is bliss, and that's how a lot of people approach approach their finances. I was definitely someone who was a big spender, and I was definitely spending more than I was having coming in. So the ways that I have started to focus on my finances are incorporating the 20, 30, 50 method, which is 20% on savings, 50% on needs, and 30% on wants. This has helped me so much because now I know that I am paying my bills on time, I'm saving some money, and at the same time, I'm not just living to save my money, I'm actually being able to buy things that I want to buy. This has given me confidence to know that I have a security savings. I am able to live my life more responsibly when it comes to finances. Depending on what you're saving, it really doesn't matter as long as you're saving something. Don't ever feel like,
oh, it's only this, so I might as well not save it.
You always want to save money. I definitely had made that mistake when I felt like I didn't have anything to save. It's always nice to have something. And once you see that money start to compound, actually look like something, you feel better just knowing that you can protect yourself in some way if anything were to happen. It just builds this confidence in you because you have something to lean back on. Another thing that I've done, especially when it comes to wants, which is the 30%, is make a wish list. I have started making wish lists because a lot of the times, if you can be an impulse spender, you are spending money that you probably didn't spend on something that you actually wanted because you felt like you needed to save the money or whatever the case is. But when you have a list, now you're able to just go on that list and actually know what it is that you want to buy. And now you're buying things intentionally and actual good quality that you want and that you know in 6 months you're not going to want to get rid of, or it's going to be falling apart or anything like that was just kind of at the end of the day a little bit of waste of your money. Wish lists are top tier for actually getting what you want, building that wardrobe, investing in that business, whatever it is, you do you, girl. But the fact that you have your finances together is a plus. That's what we need. For the fourth thing that I did was learning to say no. I used to feel like I needed to show up to everything and do everything because I felt like that's how I showed my care. Honestly, at this point in my life, if something is not at this crazy great importance and I'm really just not feeling up for it, I'm just going to say no and I'm just not going to do it. You cannot pour from an empty cup. I've definitely been in those stages. I am saying yes to all of these things and not to hold like any grudges or anything of that sort, but if people are not feeling up for it, most of the time they're going to say no. And if you just give, and then you realize that other people have boundaries where they're going to say no, that's not a time for you to feel let down because you didn't have your boundaries to say no. It's just really the time to take a look within, remind yourself that you also have a choice to say no. That's not to hurt anybody. That's not to ruin your relationships that you care about. That's just simply self-preservation, making sure that you have an overflowing cup to pour from instead of just trying to give your last straw. The fifth thing today is to work on your mindset. This goes back to best case scenario journaling. This was the first thing that really was the catalyst to helping me elevate my mindset to then pour into other areas in my life and starting to reflect on how I could be contributing to certain things in my life that I don't necessarily like the way that's going. And this could be for relationships in all forms: intimate relationships, platonic relationships, work relationships, and even relationships with things like the gym and chores. I had to take a look within and really assess the things that I'm not happy with in my life. Once I realized that sometimes when we're feeling upset or emotional, we're not really realizing, well, how can I be contributing to this relationship that may be making someone else feel some type of way, or whether that person has vocalized it or not. It always takes two to tango. Obviously, if you're in a situation that doesn't really feel like it's taking two to tango, so some relationships, if you really can't get down to the bottom of it, it probably has to go. I'm so sorry. I know it's very hard. Once I started to, for example, change the relationship I have with working. I love working, but I don't necessarily like 9 to 5 working. And there would just be times where I would sit and I would just dread going. That's just something personal, but I realized that lately, it's happened a lot. I realized, well, how can I make this 9 to 5 thing work for me? There's no need to dread my everyday, especially if it's something that I do, because at the end of the day, I need money. I need money to pour into myself. I need money to take care of myself. I have a cat, an apartment, I have to take care of things. Once I changed the relationship with that and I was able to go on to work and just build very normal relationships with coworkers and try my best to get the best out of it, I was able to now have the energy to go to work every day and not feel so dreaded and drained. And that's something I really looked into to have a better relationship with work. I also did this with the gym. At some point, I did dread going to the gym, but at the end of the day, you're never going to regret working out because you just feel so good after. And if you're consistent and you go hard while you're in the gym, it's not only good for your physical health, but it's good for your mental health too. You start to feel so confident. You start to see results. You just feel good. So might as well make a good relationship with working out. Pick whatever helps you actually get that thing done. It's good for you in the long run. At the end of the day, you want to build a good relationship with it. I did the same thing with chores, like cleaning the house. I started to romanticize cleaning the house. I started to be happy and grateful that I have dishes to even wash, because there's people out there who don't. And once you start to realize these things, you start to become really fortunate of the mundane things that you were dreading in the first place. So now I proudly do chores because I'm thankful to have a roof over my head to do so. For the 6th thing that I did to elevate my life is to accept where I am in the present. The reason why I had to learn to accept where I am in the present, and the reason why I believe we should all do this, is because a lot of my life I was always focused on the future and always focused on the goals I wanted to hit, wanted to build this great life that I want. And it was taking so much from my present time because I was so focused on just better, more, better, more. To live in a cycle like that is the fastest way to unhappiness. Unfortunately, it doesn't seem that way, but when you are just going and you're hitting these goals, but you're not really giving that present moment, that present win, the love it deserves and needs, because at some point you were not at the present place that you are now. At some point you wanted what you have now. So to accept that, hey, I've come this far. I know I'm going to get that thing that I want in the future. I am so grateful for where I am right now. I am able to give the present gratitude. You find that you're actually more motivated to continue to keep going when you are just loving the life that you have. That has been something that has elevated my everyday living while I'm going after my goals. The 7th thing is to keep the promises you make to yourself. This is the fastest way to building confidence, because when you set out that you're going to do something and you actually keep that promise to yourself, and it's something that you made with yourself, no one was involved, you really start to lean on yourself and you trust yourself more. When we don't keep the promises that we keep to ourselves, this is the fastest way to not trusting our intuition or not trusting that we're actually going to do something. This is where we get stuck in things like not knowing who we are and all the things that are just not good things. But let me talk about the good things that happens with trusting in yourself. One thing, like I said, it builds confidence. You are actually setting out and accomplishing those things that you're accomplishing. Once you build that pathway in your brain to becoming that person that you said you're going to becoming that person that achieves these types of goals, the possibilities of where you could take your life are absolutely endless. Now you trust yourself that you're going to get those things done. And let me tell you, at the end of the day, some days you're not going to want to get up and do it, but those are the days that count the most. It's all fun and dandy when you have the motivation, but what about when you don't? And that's really where you build that stamina to keep going. On those days when it's not your best day, but the fact that you showed up for yourself anyway is what counts. It's not about it being perfect. Nothing's ever going to be perfect. The fact that you showed up was what the win is. The win is that you showed up and you did the best that you could do that day. And every day you showing up is what counts. It's still building towards you and your goals. It's not a loss of a day. Never forget to show up for yourself. And one of my favorite things to say to myself is, don't forget to show up for yourself today. That always gives you accountability. The 8th thing to elevating is to become aware of yourself. When I say become aware of yourself, what I mean is recognizing the accomplishments and the pros about yourself. Sometimes we can be our biggest critics. That doesn't do anything for us but make us get down on ourselves and makes us not even feel like we should even go out and do it and have confidence in it, because we are so busy analyzing ourselves, critiquing ourselves, and bringing ourselves down. A lot of the times we talk to ourselves in crazy ways that we wouldn't even talk to our loved ones that way. And if you feel like you are saying things to yourself that are just so negative and put yourself down, and you feel like if someone in your life said those things to you, you would probably not want to talk to them anymore. That's how bad that we can talk to ourselves sometimes. Rule of thumb, if you wouldn't say something that you're saying to yourself to a loved one, don't say it to yourself. That's the best way to go ahead and cut that out right there, because we're not doing that. We want to make sure that we are speaking kindly of ourselves, being the best that we can be, actually being genuine and true, and being our best own cheerleader. The 9th thing is to allow yourself to sit back in your feminine energy. Feminine energy is powerful. It does wonders in your life. Everyone needs an equal balance, of course, of masculine and feminine energy. Feminine energy is the topic of today because there was a time where I would be in my masculine so hard because I was in fear that I'd be walked all over, or if something was going really good in my life, I would be so fearful that it actually won't last that long. So I wouldn't let myself get used to it. I wouldn't let myself get comfortable to being happy. This caused me to feel like I had so much stress. It made me feel like I had the world on my back. I had to do everything on my own. One thing I've cut out is feeling that way, feeling like I had to do everything on my own, feeling like I have to be so tough to show that I couldn't be taken advantage of, or feel like, I had to be so hard because of the past and things that I've went through. At the end of the day, we're just thinking ourselves in bad moods. And feminine energy is not worrying, stressing, rushing, really allowing yourself to receive, knowing at the end of the day, it's always going to be okay. And for the last and final thing, if you made it to the end, hey girl, go ahead, hit that like button, join the family. Let go of what doesn't serve you. So many times we hold on to relationships that we don't serve us because they're like,
we've been here since day one.
But that day one is no longer feeling like day one. It's feeling like, please, this is stressing me out. I let go of emotions that don't serve me, triggers that don't serve me. If you're being triggered by something, that's an emotion that you still have. And when you feel comfortable to explore that. If that's attached to a person, work on either resolving it with that person. And if it can't be resolved, we'll work on possibly disconnecting from that. Or sometimes it's not a person, sometimes it's a job. There are so many things that trigger us and make us not feel well, and that can put so much on your body. So if something's not serving you, just go ahead and let that go, especially when it comes to certain relationships. Always know that forgiveness is key. There does not have to be any beef. There doesn't have to be anything nasty. It's all about self-preservation, not about beef. You do not have to go out on a limb when you're trying to elevate yourself and become your best self. If you are around things that make you feel bad about yourself and don't help you get through that and become your best self, then it is time to let that go. With that being said, if you did enjoy this video, please like and subscribe. Leave a comment and let me know a tip on how you plan on elevating your life. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time.